In the previous video, we created two classes, our Nazi Zombie game mode, as well as our Nazi Zombie player spawn point. Now in this one, we're going to be setting up our spawn point to essentially just have basic control variables, such as if it's used and that sort of thing. And that might be the only thing that we end up doing. I might end up adding a static mesh to this to make it a little bit clearer to see. So for example, let's actually see kind of what it looks like when we drag it into the world. And no, that's actually fine. So no need to add a static mesh to make it cleaner. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to go ahead and create the constructor for both classes, actually. And a protected section. And the definition for the constructor. All right, so I'm going to create a simple Boolean. B is used and set that to false by default. And then a public function returning if it's used. Oh, actually, let's change the naming scheme up. Let's change the function to is valid spawn. And let's make it, let's change it to, no, let's see, what would be a good name for this? We'll just skip with the same naming convention. So if it's used, then we will simply not be able to spawn there. And we're going to return B is used. And now we need to set up our game mode a little bit. First things first, we're actually going to include our spawn point. And then if we load up the Orderboard game mode, we can see that it sets our default pawn. And since we're going to have a default pawn, I'm going to end up going with this route. So we're going to set our default pawn class to our blueprint character base, which is this guy here. So in order to do that, we need access to, well, first off, constructor helpers, and I'm going to go ahead and include the character base class. Like so. And then we can simply copy the setup that gets everything. I'm not going to worry about the HUD at the moment, as, well, yeah, I guess. We can go ahead and copy the HUD. Just keep everything the same. Okay, we should be good to go. I'm going to go ahead and compile. Actually, I want to make a setter function. So public void set used bool used. So if it's used, it sets B is used to true. If not, it sets it to false. So that way we just have more control over it. And as well as when we actually spawn a character on it, we can toggle it. So B is used equals used. And now we can go ahead and compile. Alrighty. And I have to actually include the HUD. So in that case, since we're going to be probably making our own HUD, I'm just going to ignore it. Not worried about it. Because all it is right now is just a crosshair. We don't necessarily actually need that. Okay. So now let's change the game mode. So settings, world settings, game mode override, we're going to select Nazi Zombie game mode. And I'm going to do that for both maps. And save. And make sure that we spawn just like before. All right. And we do. We just have no HUD, which is how we have it set up, because obviously we never set it up in our constructor. Okay, so we are good to go here. Next up, we will start working on actually gathering all of our spawn points that we have placed in the world and use them inside of our game mode. So that way we can pretty much override our current spawning system. So once, well, yeah, I will just see you in the next one.